Hello and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. Community service can have a lot of positive effects on people, such as helping them to develop skills, making contact, and allowing them to improve the quality of life of others. Engaging in community service provides the people with the opportunity to become active members of their communities and have a lasting positive impact on society at large. Community service or volunteerism stems from social responsibility and enables us to acquire life skills and knowledge, as well as provide a service to those who need it most. We will be speaking about this matter with Dr. Fatma al-Baluchi, who is the Chief Executive Officer of White Palm and Chairwoman of Bahrain Trust Foundation. But first, this for more.
What is individual social responsibility? Social responsibility is about me, you, and us. It is about our action, how we affect people, the community, and the environment around us. What if we all accepted responsibility for the challenges that our communities face? What if we challenged ourselves to create positive impact with every action we take? Just like businesses focus on corporate social responsibility, JCI members are challenged to focus on individual social responsibility. We all have rights as citizens, but we also have responsibilities. The JCI Active Citizen Framework is a social plan that serves as a roadmap to sustainable development. That is what social responsibility is about. It is about me, you, and all of us taking responsibility for the future of our world, starting from our local community.
Welcome back. Joining us in the studio is Dr. Fatma al-Baluchi. Thank you very much for being with us today and for talking to us about this very important topic. It's an honor to have you here, Doctor.
It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you. Dr. Fatma, let's start by first pointing out the value and the importance of the benefits that charity and volunteering work brings to an individual and to a society in general.
I think it's a human nature of any community or any group of people that people help each other. And some people, they go out of their way, in giving some, part of their time to help others. So this is a human nature. And even for us, as an Arab culture, Muslim culture, we've been, we've grown up with the idea that helping people is a good deed. And I think any community believing in such values, this is what makes communities better and let them be together and communicate with each other and help each other. Yes. And I think this is something that's even applied, it is something that we can see all over the world. And here in Bahrain, if you want to talk about Bahrain, those values have been instilled in people, and taking this practice from being ad hoc or being something, if I think about it, yeah, I'll do it now. It's not something planned. It's not something from being ad hoc into something that's well organized. It started in Bahrain since the beginning of last century. Yeah. Bahraini NGOs have been established early in the century. Even first, people thought about the importance of different things in the community, such as education. Yeah. So the first schools that has been established, they were non-government schools. It's a group of people who started it, and then later on the government started the formal schools. Yes. Women NGOs started in early 50s, and it's something that we are very proud of, that they started a long time ago. It was out of their feeling of the importance of helping others and how to do it in an organized way.
Yes, yeah, true. Now, the importance of this social responsibility, as you said, it stems from the people of Bahrain itself, but also the leadership had a very big role in supporting social events, charities, volunteers all over Bahrain, and it also went to an international aspect. We talked previously about the Sheikh Isa Award for volunteering. So what can you tell us about the support the leadership has given to social responsibility and social work here in Bahrain?
I think our leadership, starting from our late Emir Sheikh Isa bin Salman, and now our present His Majesty the King of Bahrain, Sheikh Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince, and their all the of course the Prime Minister, all of them were pushing for the idea of creating a complete ecosystem that supports charity and volunteering and social responsibility, whether it's from a government side, whether it's from a private sector side, or whether it's encouraging people to start their own organizations and to support this. So even in the time that when I was a Minister of Social Development, I remember when first the constitutions was established, we only had 100 NGOs. After 10 years, it was more than 600 NGOs, because our constitution says it's the freedom of creating organizations that has a purpose in the community, and many of them were doing lots of things to help the community. So His Majesty the King himself created one of our largest charity organization, which is the Royal Charity Organization, and it's one of the leading organizations, whether it's inside Bahrain or outside Bahrain. Sure. And then comes other programs and that stems from the royal family and their children and their love of helping other people. So it started up many awards, many conferences, many. So at the end, what we are seeing and how I see it, it's a complete ecosystem. The ministry at one point created a center to support non-government organizations, to build skills of volunteers and everything, and they created a fund also to fund those NGOs to start. And I think Sheikh Isa bin Ali, he started an award for social responsibility, which is to encourage people and to bring the youth and the young people to come and talk about their ideas, their charity ideas, their volunteering ideas, and they are awarded for that. Maybe I cannot recall all of them, but there are many. Even Her Royal Highness Sheikha Sabika bint Ibrahim, she supported lots of the youth ideas in charity, and also the social responsibility, which is to help the entrepreneurs, people working at home, with an award called Al-Usar al-Muntija, which is families who work at home. So all of those ideas, all of those efforts created this ecosystem that there is a support from the government, there is the support of funding that comes from the private sector, and then you have the skills and the people, the human resource that can bring all those ideas into reality.
Yes. Now, you talked about the large number of NGOs that are actually available in Bahrain, and it's good to point out that the reason there are so many is because there are so many fields in social development that can be helped in. I mean, if you look at how the world is changing, there are countries that are war-stricken, there are refugees all over the world, we have also climate change, we also have so many problems, and some people, some individuals do that little thing where they do that extra in their communities by recycling or by making an initiative. Can you tell us more? You're the best one to tell us. What is the term, what does it mean, social responsibility? And what is it, why is it so important?
I think the term social responsibility came at the beginning to kind of to encourage the private sector to put part of their annual profit that they get, part of it should go to charity work, or it should go to projects that helps their local communities or international communities. Many countries around the world, they even passed legislation, law, to enforce companies to pay a certain percentage of their annual profit or dividends to give for a local cause, to help and support. Although in Bahrain we don't have a law that says that, which I always wanted it to happen, but although there is no law, but most, if not, the majority of the companies in Bahrain, they always put part of their, a percentage of their annual profit. It goes to local charities, local whatever organizations that does something that help to accomplish the causes of many objectives that we have, and most of them now we are guided by the Sustainable Development Goals, which are very important. And it's a wonderful guide that countries around the world, including Bahrain, has participating in putting those goals. And now it's time for us to look at them and see how we can implement them through our social responsibility ideas that comes support that comes from government, and it comes from local youth and young people, and even we have organizations that has been there for more than a century, that has been also participating in developing this. What I want to say also, that we should always, and this is something that I've been calling for, that we should always look at any country for it to have sustainable development, whether it's in socially or economically or politically. We need to have three entities working side by side, helping each other, and that's the government, the private sector, and then the non-government organizations. They have a huge role in supporting the government and the private sector, and I think because our government believes in them so much, and that's why they've been giving so many opportunities to develop and to form and to work, whether it's inside Bahrain or outside Bahrain.
Yes. And NGOs as such are also facilitators for the companies that don't have access immediately to the social work that needs to be done, or to do social responsibility.
I think we've done something, I remember, which is called a borsa, that we put all the ideas in it. And this is what we are doing right now in our charity organization. We put all the ideas and the cost, so it helps people when, if they want an idea, come on, here's a list and you can choose. You
can just choose any of the ideas. I actually saw a couple of ideas. One of them was a CEO who actually basically designated part of the profits or the distance, as you said, from the company to a race for the youth, for the training of horses, and they were trained in stables and so on. And at the end, he actually made the whole race for them, and it became a big deal. So even these things, like supporting the youth, is part of the social responsibility. Well, engaging in community service provides the people with the opportunity to become active members of their community and has a lasting positive impact on society at large. Community service or volunteerism enables students to acquire life skills and knowledge, as well as provide a service to those who need it most. Let's take a look at how volunteerism affects the lives of people in need.
Tant aussi à donner une autre image des Nations Unies. C'est pas quelque chose d'abstrait, c'est pas que des gens qu'on voit à la télé, mais c'est des gens qui viennent, qui contribuent à faire améliorer les conditions de vie des populations.
That spirit of volunteerism, which came from UNV, came from our group of volunteers, is spreading as a way of life.
El voluntariado es como que es el capital social más fuerte que tiene un país.
Moving people out of poverty cannot be achieved by governments and international organizations alone. It requires the commitment of all levels of society. Volunteerism engages people from the ground up to make lasting changes. The United Nations Volunteers Program promotes volunteerism for peace and development worldwide. UNV is the only United Nations entity capable of mobilizing large numbers of highly qualified volunteers who serve the UN system in war-torn communities, classrooms, hospitals, and homes. Every year, over 6,000 UN volunteers serve side by side with UN staff in peacekeeping missions and in some of the most challenging environments across the world. UNV also mobilizes tens of thousands of online volunteers every year who contribute their time and skills virtually.
Je peux dire qu'être volontaire, c'est une fierté pour moi.
I think volunteerism, it became a part of my life. It's my lifestyle. Through volunteerism, you will change yourself. You will change people around you. You will affect the community. You will affect the future.
Es un trabajo en el cual nosotros ponemos de nosotros para apoyar a gente que lo necesita.
You have to be committed on the things that you believe in as a volunteer, and then the rewarding will come.
A reward of volunteering is not something material you get. You do something and you get a smile from people, you get a thank you, it shapes your personality, your character.
Para mí el voluntariado es un tema de justicia social. Por eso digo, todas las personas en algún momento tienen que hacer acción voluntaria.
The UN volunteer is unique. 80% of UN volunteers come from the Global South. 40% are women, and the average age is 38 years old.
There are various volunteer modalities. The ones that UNV brings is people with a specific background, specific sets of skills, at different age levels.
La première partie, c'est peut-être mon expérience. Et nous sommes venus ici pour exercer cette profession en collaboration avec les sages-femmes haïtiennes. Ce sont des échanges mutuels de connaissances que nous faisons.
Il faut que les femmes soient devant, il faut que les femmes participent au développement de la nation. Voilà, donc j'ai vu que le meilleur moyen pour participer au développement, c'est en étant volontaire des Nations Unies.
Somos un país de desigualdades sociales, pero creo que los que hemos tenido la oportunidad de acceder a la educación, estamos en la oportunidad de poder sacar adelante.
We can really feel the energy that comes with them and the determination and the fast learning curve. I tend to attribute this aspect to the very high quality of a selection by the UNV.
I think we're dreamers, so then we bring out all this energy into our work and we want to achieve great results.
Quiere una Arequipa mejor, entonces colaboremos.
UNV partners with UN agencies, UN peacekeeping missions, governments, civil society, and private sector partners to create programs under 5 priority areas with a focus on innovation in volunteerism.
The most valuable thing we've got from UNVs is being able to put our international knowledge into a local setting. So we might come with an idea that we've tested out and tried and executed in another part of the world, but we'll be able to understand from the UNVs here how it can be adapted. We can't do half the things we do if we don't have UNVs.
La plupart des volontaires qu'on a eus ici, c'est des volontaires qui viennent d'autres opérations et qui connaissent déjà l'opération du HR. Et ils sont venus avec leurs compétences, avec leur expérience et avec aussi beaucoup de volonté à faire un travail.
UNV were one of the first organisations who offered any concrete support. It's also been great because UNV is part of the UN family of organisations, and in this project we can feel that this is joining up bits of work that's being done by other agencies within the UN, and then we can feel like we're contributing to a holistic package for this community.
I think this is the value of the volunteerism, when people really get involved and they become agents of change also.
In every society, in every community, there is somewhere that energy that can be mobilized. And we have to create the conditions where these young, committed, passionate people can actually come forward and join these programs.
The post-2015 development agenda aims to leave no one behind. Volunteerism is a way to engage people in achieving peace and sustainable development. The potential of volunteerism is limitless. UN volunteers are creating the world we want.
Welcome back. Now, before we went to the video, you talked about the corporate social responsibility. Can you tell us some examples on initiatives that have been done in the kingdom?
Oh, there are many initiatives that has been done where the support of the private sector was put to organizations. I remember many, even for us when I was in the Ministry of Social Development, there were many of the rehabilitation centers, many of the centers, that community centers that we have built were built with the money of the private sector.
Yeah.
And many of the programs that were running by the annual support of private sector.
Yeah.
So you can see private sector, as I said, we have even worked with them to create a fund to support NGOs and based it on a competition basis, and the government puts part of the money and the private sector puts part of it, and then we give it out to non-government organizations.
Yeah.
So corporate, it's not just only from companies, it comes also from families,
Yeah.
from individuals. We have lots of families who are well known in Bahrain who have contributed to their society back and built lots of health centers, lots of centers for the elderly, and you can see them all around Bahrain with their names on them.
Yes.
And that's part of their social responsibility. And there are the individuals who also come and contribute. Probably it comes with a lower amount,
Yeah.
but I always believe in an old line of poetry saying, don't underestimate small pebbles, because huge mountains are made of small stones.
Yes.
So people who give donations, small donations,
Yeah.
when they are grouped together, they make also great projects, and they help us, do them and sustain them.
Exactly.
So I think the idea comes from all around, but at the end we need to organize it, and that's when I mentioned at the beginning that the Bahrain has created an ecosystem.
Yeah.
That in that ecosystem there is the legislation, there is the rules and the regulations to help to make it sustainable and working. There's the support system. So all of this come together and as a whole idea of to support social work, social responsibility, volunteering, all those terms. At the end, it comes to one thing, which is you take something that you have and you give it to others.
Yes.
Whether it's money or knowledge or
physical
strength, anything, you just give it to others. The form changes, whether it's from a corporate company or from an individual or from, so it changes.
Yes.
But at the end it's the value
Yes.
behind it.
Yes. Well, as you said, even people with small contributions, they actually make up the majority of people that are actually contributing to social development. It is also a fact that Bahrain actually recently is going to have on cleanup day, is going to have a big fair where people go clean up the beaches of Bahrain.
Yeah.
And these are individuals, these are people that go to school or that have a morning job or anything, that's the way they can contribute.
It's one thing, let me say also about this value of contribution, this value of giving.
Yeah.
From a psychological point of view, it's something that brings happiness.
Yes.
And this is what I feel personally every time I do something. It gives me happiness, and that happiness, it encourages me to continue working.
Yes.
And this is what happens to all, whether young people or older people or middle-aged or whatever, or whether it's a citizen, a national, or an expat.
Yes.
all of those people, they do that because it brings them happiness and self-satisfaction that they have done something to their communities. They have given back.
Yes.
And that's what, this is the thing that, it's the engine that makes volunteering, charity work, social responsibility continues on.
Exactly, and also the fact that having that sense of accomplishment at the end revives a person's inner self. Well, during your work with the society, with different community service areas, what are the challenges that can face effective implementation of community services?
As I said, it's creating, when I mentioned the ecosystem, it's developing it and to continue developing it. And there is no perfect system that you have. You should always continue on looking where are the gaps, what went wrong and how we can develop it better. I think this is the idea, and also building awareness among people, among corporate sector, among government individuals. All of that contributes into developing a system that continues on developing. It's not something that you have and you will work with it. So every day, sometimes when I wake up, I get a new idea, and I said, when I think of a problem, I get an idea of a solution. So we do it, and then we see, okay, it worked that way, but it did not work the other way. And it's a continuous system of learning and developing, whether, when I was in the government or whether right now when I'm heading a charity organization. It's always the idea of we should continue developing and learning from our mistakes, learning from the experiences of the others. Whether locally or internationally, broadening our network. We should always go and seek other people's ideas and knowledge. We should continue to network with them, to work with them. That's what makes our work at the end of the day something that's viable and something that adds value to what we are doing.
Yes, Dr. Fatma, you mentioned, during your tenure with the ministry and then later on, do you feel there's a different approach to social responsibility from those days to now with the development of technology and the access of so many outlets? Is there a difference now on how much can be given to society back?
I think just a few years ago, the technology, of course, technology has been there, and we tried to develop lots of things, even at the ministry, that there is we created a platform for the NGOs, all their applications, everything, it's online. To help, to make our work more transparent. But recently, in the past few years, with the social media, the development that happened in the social media, it was there 10 years ago, Twitter and Instagram, but now 10 years after, it has developed so much, and it has given organizations like ours a huge opportunity to reach out to people, to network, to learn from the others. I think this is one of the things that has added so much to our work. Technology has always been there. And that's one of the things that we in Bahrain Trust Foundation, which is our organization, is that we think of smart solutions. Solutions they don't have to be expensive. They don't need a huge budget. You can create something with the help of technology, something that's faster and on a smaller scale, but with probably a larger outreach to people. And of course, technology has done so much, and we should always think of how we can make use of technology. And one of our projects that right now we are working on is that we make use of online platforms. We created a platform called Charity Hub, where we want everyone to come and bring their ideas.
Okay.
And this is something that will help. Right now with the technology, there is what they call the crowdfunding.
Okay.
The crowdfunding is there, and it has been done for entrepreneurs for their own private businesses. Why not do it for charity projects?
Yes.
And we do crowdfunding for charity projects. And it is there somehow where people can just get online and donate. But this is what we are trying to do, is to create a hub, an online hub, and for people to come and see all kinds of projects and ideas and how they can help to fund them.
Initiate them even. Yeah. Well, that's where I come to a more personal matter. Now, when we look at social responsibility, it doesn't necessarily have to be solved with money. It could be solved with basically emotions. It could be saved. Some people are in actual trouble by being basically retained from leaving their homes or stuff like that. And this is also one of the things that NGOs, some of the NGOs do, and social responsibility comes in. People actually give their personal time, or they do negotiations. Doesn't necessarily have to be materialistic. Can you tell us about a social responsibility that was very close, or an initiative that was very close to your heart personally?
There were many, but I remember when you talk about community service, we were the first ministry that helped the Ministry of Justice, saying, okay, if a person passed the red light, or not a red light, or speeded up in a non-speed zone, you don't have to put him in jail, you know, and it was a mistake. So then it was the agreement, and this is what is that, okay, we can give them community service. And that was the collaboration with the Ministry of Justice, that those people can come and instead of serving time in jail, they can serve time to their community.
Yes.
And we have benefited from them. And I remember there was a man who was a business owner who had certain skills that when he was coming to serve a community service in one of our centers, we asked him to train the people that we had, and he actually trained them. You get lots of wonderful ideas from such initiatives, where the way you try to change a behavior of someone is not necessarily by punishment, and the punishment could be in a different form.
Exactly.
I remember I saw once a young boy who was around 12, was recently, and he was spraying paint on the wall. And we caught him, and I told him,
red-handed.
Yeah, this is not the way of doing it. And I spoke to his parents, and I said, and it was on a wall near our organization.
Okay.
So I told him, right now, you bring we had a bucket of paint. We gave it to him, and we said, you start painting your whatever you've done on our wall. And all the other children were sitting and watching him. That he was painting
it.
And he did not leave until he cleared up all what he sprayed. And since then, we never, none of them came and painted on our walls.
There you go. That's awareness.
Yeah. It was an education moment.
Yes, exactly.
Even for the other children, and even, believe me, that incident gave us another idea. I said, okay, those young boys, they do that out of probably boredom, and if they don't have anything to do. So now we are working on another project for them. It's not that you just punish them, tell them go away. We are working on another project. We call it Learning Alleys, where we take their alleys and transform them into something that's more social, more educational, and we'll start doing it now, inshallah. And I think this is how you learn. When you told me about how you develop, so you see a problem, you solve it, and then you say, how can I prevent this? So you talk about prevention. and you get also more ideas of prevention, and Learning Alleys is a prevention project.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Dr. Brouchi, being the chairwoman of Bahrain Trust Foundation's Board of Trustees, can you tell us about the vision, goals, and main current projects that you guys are working on?
Bahrain Trust Foundation is a non-government organization that's we work in the board. We are a team of colleagues. Me with the Vice President, Dr. Ataf Shabrawi. We have Sheikh Lubna Al-Khalifa with us as the board secretary, and Al-Harith Al-Atawi, who's our he looks after our money and the collections, the financial person. And then we have Dr. Fatin Al-Muayyad. She was a previous colleague of mine, the College of Education, University of Bahrain. So we as a team, board, we plan when we support each other. And we have our other team, which is the actual people who work in the organization. We believe that for a charity organization to develop and to succeed, we cannot rely only on the spare time of people. We have to make it an actual organization with full-time employees. So we have full-time employees working from 8 to 3 every day, working whatever you see that we have achieved because our employees. So we have Muhammad, Noor, and Hala. Those are our 3 great employees right now who, put their time and effort into translating our ideas into a reality. And we have other volunteers who also come and work. So we have like a project like our micro schools, or the Dukan al-Farij, which is the online shop, or the volunteering. We have also our other colleagues who come and support us, and we have some teachers also in the summer in the summer vacation who came and supported us. And we have our wonderful volunteers, whether it's from universities or schools, who come and support us. The vision of Bahrain Trust Foundation is to create smart solutions. And those smart solutions is that we look for projects that are not too expensive to do, so that's easy for us to collect money for it and to fund it. And then we try, we do things in Bahrain and we do things internationally. And when some people say, why don't you just concentrate in Bahrain? I tell them, what we do internationally, it's actually the ideas and the thoughts of the Bahraini youth. We take them abroad to see and to show people what can Bahraini people do and how they can help. So it's smart solutions like micro schools, which is a 1 classroom school idea, multi-age, project-based. We have the idea of the water fountain, where we are collaborating with Bahrain Polytechnic, with their engineering students, that they work out to create a machine that absorbs water from the air and makes it into water, drinkable water. And many ideas at Dukan al-Farij, which is an online shop. We support the Bahraini artisans and people who work at home to put their products and to sell them online. By the way, it's available, and and by buying, it's supporting those Bahrainis. So all our ideas does not cost much. For example, 1 school that we built outside, the maximum it would go for building and furnishing, and a 4-year probably, budget, working budget, costs around 15,000 dinars. So, which is not a huge budget, and it's a price of
over
1 car.
That time,
But by creating such a smart solution, when we call it, you change the lives of people. I remember the school that we have built in Egypt. It was in a very remote village. No electricity, no water, and no school, of course. And the school, the closest one is so far. by building a school there, right in the center of that small village, it transformed the village, transformed even the people, the way that you look at them, even the children. They look so different from the first time we saw them. The first time we saw them, they were dirty. The second time, they were all neat and wonderful with their uniforms, with their. It's such a wonderful feeling that when you see such a little amount of money, how it transforms the lives of people. And this is what we tell people here, is that we can change other people's lives with a very small amount money or effort, because we took volunteers there who helped in building a playground for them, volunteers who were going to homes and seeing what kind of problems, how we can solve them. So it's a smart solution by helping others and helping also our people here.
Yes, because also being in part of an initiative like that, you become a role model to the person that you're basically helping, like these children. Well, the Bahrain Trust Foundation introduced a creative competition for all Bahraini and Arab writers. Tell us more about the aims and how it came about.
Yeah, this is this project came. It came out from our micro school project. Micro schools, it's the idea of a micro school. It's you create a one classroom with very small communities, whether it's refugees, remote villages, or whether it's in a hospital, because we have now we started a micro school in Salmaniya Hospital. Yeah. So it's a small number of students where you cannot create a huge school for them. So you create one school, one classroom, multi-age, so all levels are there. You put them into groups. And then we don't teach them in the traditional way that like this is the lesson of math, so we teach them math, and then the lesson of reading and writing or whatever. No, we teach them through projects, so it's project-based learning.
All right.
So you introduce a project like how about if we open a shop? So from that, opening that shop, they learn how to design, how to do math, how to write about that shop, how to read other stories, how to look at other. So it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
Each project, it starts with what we call it with a question or a story.
Okay.
To help them brainstorm and to get the ideas. So when we started doing and to design our curriculum, the project-based curriculum, there are many stories out there in the market, but because here in Bahrain Trust we want to involve our local people, communities, and also the communities outside.
Yeah.
And we brought out the titles of our projects. It was 6 of them, which is how to start opening my shop, recycling around the world, and etc. So, and we said, give us stories that can initiate questions and brainstorm the minds of our students. And then we approached Bahrain Culture and organization headed by Sheikh Hamay Al-Khalifa and Sheikh Hala, who was a huge support for us, where they agreed that they will work with us on this. So this is part of another social responsibility. So they came along with us, and we together from the last book fair that we had here in Bahrain, we announced the project with them, and Sheikh Hala was there, and they committed that the winners of this competition, they will print their stories.
Yeah.
So we might do this every 2 years. Every time we have a book fair, we will show our books, the stories that has been written, and also with the support of Bahrain University, where 4 of our colleagues are in our committee, that the evaluation committee, who will go through those stories, and inshallah by next month we'll announce the winners. But you see, this whole idea, it came from social responsibility. It came from the needs that we saw. It came from the working together of different organizations, you know, our organization with the Bahrain Culture Authority and University of Bahrain, all of us working together.
It's like a multidisciplinary team.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be a wonderful thing, and at the end will benefit our you know, writers. Anyways, most of the people who participated were from Bahrain, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah.
And they were young people and older people.
Of course, it shows.
So it's you know, you give the opportunity for everyone to contribute.
Yes, Bahrain is known for its very strong literature and literal people that used to write poetry and stories and so on. So this will be a very huge project. We've gotten almost to the end of our show, but I'd really like to know, what are the future plans and the upcoming projects that you are seeing for your institution?
It's never ending.
Never ending.
We have our nearest, we have 2 trips a year. We call it Goodwill Trips, رحلات الخير, where we open one of our micro schools abroad, and we take volunteers, because usually they are in poor villages among, you know, so we take volunteers, go with us, and we do a whole program for 5 days up to 1 week, for the school, for the children, and for the villagers themselves. So we have an upcoming trip right now. We are building our 2nd school in Egypt. It's also in and it will be, inshallah, at the end of this year. We'll announce, if people want to, they can look at our Instagram account or our website. They'll see the time when we will announce for this trip.
Yes.
As I told you, we are now in our last procedures with the Ministry of Education in Jordan, where we will start also a number of micro schools there for the refugees and for the poor villages. And as I told you, we have an ongoing project. We take them one step at a time. Learning alleys, which is a wonderful thing that we hope we can start soon, and I hope then we can see it all over Bahrain.
Yes.
Of course, the water fountain. I'm looking for the day where a Bahraini student, we have the prototype, but we still under development. So once we have it and we manufacture it, then we'll say designed and done by Bahrainis. You know?
Yeah, that's a beautiful contribution to the country as well.
It will be, you know, our pride that we say Bahraini students, engineers who have designed it. You know, whoever wants to, who is interested, they can go to our website, bahraintrust.com, and they can see our projects and what we do. And we always, welcome volunteers to come and work with us. We just had a wonderful gathering with our volunteers who helped us so much in Salmaniya school. The storytellers, the students, the mothers, all of them, they've been with us for a whole month, just giving their time and their energy and their ideas to help to contribute and to make it a success.
Yes.
So always the ideas will always continue to grow and to develop, and we always welcome people to come and to give us their ideas and their opinions. I love doing that. I love having people giving me their ideas, because this is the way we can become better and better.
And we help each other.
Yeah.
And I think now that we've gotten to the end of our show, it's also important to mention that helping societies doesn't necessarily have to be done by someone that does this for a living, but if you're a mother, a retiree, a child, anybody can basically contribute and help by joining organizations like your foundation or basically going anywhere else. Thank you very much for being with us today and for answering these questions. We have gotten to the end of our show. And we would also like to thank you for watching us and see you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.